Good evening. Boy, this is my favorite time of year. I'll tell you guys, March is just so much fun, right? You got great college basketball going on. March Madness is starting, getting underway. But more importantly, you got all this great baseball news. It's literally an open book right now, right? So we're starting to prep for drafts now. So we're going to talk about that tonight. So I guess, welcome to Chapp's Fantasy Chat. I'm Chappy. I'll tell you, it's funny. We have all these great podcasters, and they all do such a great job of telling you about the news and all that stuff. My mind goes differently, so I'm more about like prepping for the draft. I'm going to give you guys my list tonight. And that's no shit, okay? I'm going to give you guys my list for the infield tonight as I prepare for my draft. And I'm going to tell you guys how you can make a good list moving forward using this mindset, okay? So the first thing, and you get Chapp's Fantasy Chat on the Lenny Melnick Fantasy Sports Network. I come to you on Tuesday nights. I love talking fantasy baseball. Guys, can you hear me? That's the first and foremost. Let's get the sound going out right. But after that, how do you guys go about making your lists? I think it's an interesting thing. Do you make lists? Do you just grab a magazine or go to a website and just go off their list? And how does that work for you? I'll tell you, I put a rather good bit of time into coming up with my list, and I think it works well for me. What I first do, when you guys have heard me talk about this before. First thing I like to do is I like to establish tiers within these categories based on what statistics they put up last year. Okay? So what am I talking about? So I talked about it a little bit the last couple weeks. I went ahead and when I made my list, I put it in a green, a yellow, and a red or a white zone. Okay, so the green zone is a certain criteria, the yellow zone is the next criteria, and the white zone is the lowest criteria. I then go and list all my players and make my list according to where those players fit. Okay, so for instance, where's the bar? So the green category is 30 plus homers, 20 stolen bases, 100 runs, 100 RBIs, and a 280 batting average, okay? That's, to me, considered not elite, but above average when you're preparing for your draft. You want guys in that category. The yellow list falls from 15 to 30 homers, from 10 to 19 stolen bases, from 75 to 99 runs, and 80 to 100 RBIs, 250 to 279 batting average. And the white or the red zone is just everything below that, right? So as you're making these lists, it starts to show you why players are valued where they are. The more green on the list, the higher the value of the player. So tonight we're going to talk about buckets. We're going to talk about the corner infield bucket, and we're going to talk about the middle infield bucket. And we're going to break those two buckets down for all of our 5 counties categories according to last year's stats. This is a really good exercise, and it's what I use in order to establish who I want to draft as I start to go in these leagues. I'm actually in a league right now that we're slow drafting. So I'll use this list that I'm sharing with you guys tonight to make that draft. So first thing, let's talk about the corner infield. Home runs, holistically, out of the top 36, 24 of them were in green with home runs. Only 13 in runs and RBIs. 18 an average of 36, right? 1 stolen base in green. And our starting 36 in the corner infield. Pretty interesting, right? One corner infielder had 20 plus stolen bases last year. That's Jose Ramirez. And only 4 had 10 plus stolen bases. Bellinger 15, Moncada 10, Kingery 15, and Edman 15. So what that tells me is you want to get your power guys at your corner infield. You don't want to focus. I'm not going to tell you should go out and get Jose Ramirez. We'll talk about that later. But when you look at this statistically, category by category, these are all counting stats, right? That's a pretty good indicator that there's a lot of power in this category. Okay? So let's talk about our first tier. So I broke it down into corner because in essence, from this category, you need to get 3 players. In a 12-team league, that means you need 36 players. So I'm giving you the top 36 players in which you should be able to formulate your corner infield position based off of my list. Okay? That's all we're talking about. Right, wrong, or indifferent. I put a lot of work into it, so I like it. Oh, no. George, say it ain't so. AJ Puck, mild left shoulder strain. Wow. That's unfortunate. It's funny. You hate to hear news coming out of spring training. You hold your breath every time you hear something like that. So, hopefully it's nothing terrible. So let's talk about holistically. Just a couple more points and then we'll move into these players. 6 players of these first 12 players at the corner position are green in 3 of 4 categories. Only Bellinger was green and yellow, right? So what do I mean by that? So, again, Bellinger had 47 homers above 30. He had 121 runs above 100. 115 RBIs above 100. 15 stolen bases is in yellow from 10 to 19. But again, there were only 4 in the category total, right? And he hit 305. So Bellinger is your, pun intended, bell of the ball here, right? He's green or yellow in every category. He's the only player in this whole bracket that can say that. So we're setting the bar kind of high intentionally, is what I'm trying to get at. But that's still telltale. Again, there's a lot of green on this list. Especially when you break it down with the second 12 and the third 12. The point I want to make of all this, when you do this exercise, this becomes really clear that you need to cherry pick from these 12 guys. I know it's hard to do because none of these guys' ADPs are really low. But it's important to come up with a draft plan ahead of time to know this is where the talent is. These 12 guys. And I'll tell you right now, I'm going to squeeze you even more. 2 of these guys I'm not going to draft because of injury concern. Well, one's an injury concern, one's another concern. So you got 12 guys here. I'm telling you to cherry pick from this group because they're all green. They're all above the bar. The bar is where you want to be. I'll keep repeating this because people are coming in and out. 30 homers, 100 runs, 100 ribs, 20 stolen bases, and a 280 average is green. Anything above that is elite when you're doing this. Okay? As I said, Cody Bellinger, number 1, ADP of 4.4, is your number 1 player at the position. He is a unique beast in that he is in that yellow category. Again, he's the only one in the position that is a green or yellow in the entire category, okay? 4.4, deservedly so. Number 2, Nolan Arenado. It's another one. He's 3 of 4. He doesn't post. These next guys won't post stolen base threats. But they're excellent everywhere else. Hey, Dave, welcome. they're excellent everywhere else. And that's what you're looking for. Arenado, again, 11.8 ADP. It's first round pick. Third base eligible. This is, so holistically again, you have 4 first basemen, you have 8 third basemen in this first list. In this first 12. So, I knew they were going to do this to me. They're going to make me pick on the clock. My league asked me to make a pick on the clock. So, Dave, I will take a second and make a pick on the clock. We are actually in a slow draft. And really cool the way he's doing it. My commissioner, Dave Craig, did an excellent job of laying this out. All of the players are here on this Google Sheets. People badmouth slow drafts. I think actually just the opposite. When you have people's buy-in and you don't get the belly aching, they really can be fun because you can sit there and take your time and make a pick. George, it's the minor league draft in coordination with the major league draft. So I am picking a minor leaguer. Actually, I've already gotten Jesus Luzardo. Basically, there's an innings limit. Okay, so 125 at bats or 50 innings pitched. So Luzardo is still technically a rookie. So I got him with the 8th pick, and then I came back around and I got C.J. Abrams with I think it was the 22nd pick or something like that, the 8th pick in the second round. I tell you, it's been well done. Everybody's making good picks. So available, I am looking at Nolan Gorman. I'm looking at Brandon Marsh. I'm looking at, I don't want to play all my cards. I am looking at Luis Patino. We'll go with those guys. So Patino, Marsh, or Gorman. Who do you guys think? Riley Green is not available. He is not available. We're going to go as long as it takes tonight, guys. So, buckle up, Buttercup. But let's get back to this list. I'll let you guys weigh in, and then I'll make my pick. But I'm down to those 3. David, thanks for putting me on the spot. So, number 3, I told you of this list of 12, I'm not suggesting 2 of these guys. This is one of them, and it's a shame. Freddie Freeman is an injury risk for me. So, when you're drafting, although I have him at number 3, because he has, I think it's shoulder or forearm, I think it's shoulder stiffness, it's a concern. But his numbers are fantastic. 295, 38, 13, and 121 are all in green. So, and that's the case, I'm not going to keep saying it, that's the case for the first 6 guys. They're all in green in home runs, RBIs, and average, right? So, it just tells you the talent in this grouping. And again, this is why I say this is the group you want to cherry pick from. These 12 guys. Freeman, if you can afford to take a hit at first base with a first round pick, if you're that confident, here's to you, man. But although it looks like he's down to a second rounder now, I guess, okay. 16.4, second round pick. It's still a lot of value, right? It's still a lot of draft value. So I might want to put him down below. Here's the thing, though. So the next guy, number 4, I'm also down on, is Alec Bregman. 13, and that's, I think a lot of people just draft blindly and they don't realize what some trigger words are, George. So, is it shoulder? I hate to keep saying it wrong. That's crazy. Shoulder, elbow, and forearm injuries are big